160 straight days of Clippers talk episodes. How's everybody doing?
I'm so lonely. Please help me.
I'm fine. I don't know why I played that. How's everybody doing?
Not too bad, I hope. Not too bad, I hope.
If you guys want to call in, 877-520-1150. 877-520-1150 is the phone number. Today on Clippers Talk, we'll review some post-game audio from last night's 15-point victory over the Miami Heat in Miami, where Bogey dropped a 30 ball. We'll also hear from Ivica Zubac, who was fabulous, per usual. 11th straight double-double for him last night. So some post-game audio, and then we'll get into the standings, because something I've been talking about for some time may be lining up. It may all be happening for the Clippers. Why is Clay always saying, like, I can't take it. Not Cassius Clay. Casual Clay. What's up, Robert? Extra Ernie TV. Adam R. You're doing well?
Not too bad, I hope.
Yes, 160 straight shows. Hi from Morocco. Wow. GRJ99. Hello. We got some post-game audio from Ivica Zubac. I'll get to in just a little bit here. But I saw this from La Murray. I thought this was interesting. After the Clippers' victory last night, 119-104 in Miami over the Heat, where bogey ball was happening. 30 from him after many of you gave up and said bogey's terrible. They shouldn't have traded Terrence Mann. He's had like 5 or 6 very impactful games so far for the Clippers. I saw this from La Murray. This was on Blue Ski. He said, Bogdanovich, he's the 15th Clipper in the Coach Lue era to have a 30-point game, including the playoffs. Only franchises that have had more players drop 30-plus points in a game since T. Lue took the Clippers head coaching job in the fall of 2020 are the Indiana Pacers and the Toronto Raptors, with 17 different guys. The Clippers have had 15 different guys for them since the fall of 2020 drop a 30 ball, as Bogey did last night. Saw this from Justin Rousseau. Bogdanovich had 21 points in the second half last night. It's the most points Bogey has scored in any half on the road in his NBA career. Maybe I undersold just how special that game was last night from Bogey. He was that good.
Done in the paint. Leaves it for Batum. A right corner three is right on target.
Okay, that's Nico Batum, who also hit a three-pointer there. But the thing I noticed, and here's the call I was looking for.
James had 50 last time the Clippers were on a second out of a back-to-back. Bogdanovich, right wing, tallies a three as he rattles it in. And the Clippers take a 3-2 lead 50 seconds into the ball game.
That first three Bogey hit last night was well defended. And I'm wondering if it gave him some confidence immediately, because he hit a tough shot there. 877-520-1150 is the phone number. If you guys want to get on to Clippers Talk here, we have the capabilities. Bogey also had 10 or 11 rebounds. I don't know. 2 different box scores. I'm going to give him 11. But he had 0 games of 10-plus rebounds through his first 2,354 days in the NBA. And now he has 3 such games in his last 347 days in the NBA. So he's improving his rebounding. And the Clippers can use that. When the smalls are going out there and rebounding too, that's a good thing. Who else do we got in here? Extra Ernie is here. Saying we here. Hope you're doing all right, Extra.
Not too bad, I hope.
Robert says Zoo's confidence is much better this last few months. I mean, the confidence has been there all season long, I think. Zoo came out of the gates getting 2015 games. Deccan Fantastic said the game from Bogey seemed easy too. Wasn't a forced 30. It felt natural for him. Yeah. I mean, he hit his first 6 shots. Thomas said loser of 7 and 8 will get one more chance to get the A seed. Yes, that's how the plan works. Boago said wouldn't mind playing Memphis. More on that in a little bit here. But yeah, Bogey, when you're that hot,
Put it up, Ben.
Put it up, Bogey. He didn't need a ton of shots. He did take 16. He has taken as many as 19 as a Clipper so far. But for people who are like, finally, about time, it's like, wait a second. He had 15 on 4 of 7 shooting from 3 against Milwaukee in his third game as a Clipper. He had 14 on 4 of 5 shooting from 3 in Chicago. He had 13 points on 3 of 4 shooting in the 23-point lead they lost against Phoenix, where Bogey scored, I think, all 13 of his points in the first half and only took 1 shot in the second half, which I didn't love, but I don't know if that was necessarily on him. He had 23 against Detroit in their 123-115 victory the very next day after that Phoenix game. That was the Harden 50-point game. This isn't his only good game of the season, as some are framing it as. I know Clippers Reddit, they had the apology form out there for those who were hating on Bogey and needed to make amends. Let me see if I can find this. I always love the apology form. It's good to see out there. Clippers Reddit, kind of a double-edged sword, but Bogey has silenced a lot of the haters. If you've been listening to me at all, I've been telling you for a while, they can't win without him. He is necessary, especially with the injuries going on, especially without Norman Powell right now. He fills a need, multiple needs for this team. It is extremely important. Bogdanovich, his 3-point shooting is needed. And guess what? Now he is shooting. Told you don't give up on him. And he was at a small sample size. He's still at a small sample size. I mean, it could go down the very next game. But as a Clipper now, he is shooting, why does it say 34.9%? It should be 30. Is that updated yet? The numbers I ran last night on Basketball Reference had him higher than that. He's shooting league average from 3 now, even with some really bad games in there. So I think he's in a much better place. He's learning the offense. What he did with that 7-0 run he went on by himself in the fourth quarter, where he had a right elbow jumper, left elbow jumper, then a 3-pointer. That was a complete takeover. Now, I know if Terrence Mann has a big game tomorrow against the Clippers, the majority of you who are like, yes, I'll take Bogey over Mann, or saying that it was a good move, are going to immediately flip. I hope not. But this is quite a big revelation for him to have a 30-point game like that. And now we'll see what it does for his confidence moving forward. And I know we played it last night, but I want you to hear from Bogey post-game on with Lauren Rosen, who we've had on the show multiple times. She'll be coming on again soon. She was just on before the Pelicans game. I know you guys want to hear from Bogey Postgame. Here he was.
But how did Ryan Bogey? You made it look easy tonight, but how does a performance like that actually feel?
Definitely not easy. Back to back. I mean, as I said the first time, when you see veteran like James preparing for the game, land at 2 a.m., fall asleep probably around 4 or 5, and get ready for today, just sleep whole day. You know, it's a huge motivation for me and everyone else. So he leads by example. We follow.
And he's often calm, cool, and collected, James Harden. But in the fourth quarter, you had him hyped up. I know you've admired him for a long time. What's it like to actually play with him?
Amazing competitor. He's pushing the best out of me, and he's just trying to compete, you know, and win every single game. So still learning how to space and play with him, but we are on a good track.
Early in the broadcast, we talked about your efficient communication with Ivica Zubac in Serbian. To watch him play as well as he has, having the best season of his career, what's it like to be teammates now?
As I said, it's easier when nobody understands you on the floor, so we can prepare better. They don't know what we want. And I'm just happy about his progress. He's a high-working guy, and he just competes. You know, he just wants to win, play the right way. Amazing to play with him.
He's happy to have you here, too, as is Clipper Nation. Bogey, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, he leads the way.
Love Bogey. Great night from him. They don't win without him. They don't need 30 every game. If they get anywhere around an efficient 15 with him knocking down 2 to 3 3-pointers, they'll be in good shape. I've been a fan of his for a long time. Was not giving up on him just because he's been in a shooting slump to start this season. But it seems to be turning around now. He mentioned Ivica Zubac there and that connection they have. Obviously, they can communicate in a language that other guys out on the court aren't going to be able to pick up on. We've had this with Nico Batum as well in the past. Guys can talk in code. The opponent doesn't know what's coming. Advantage of international players, one of many. Here was Ivica Zubac's post game after their victory last night in Miami.
Will play there, or do you think maybe it's possible to see this team in the playoffs?
I mean, we were trying to get out of the play-in. There's a lot of games left. There's a lot of games to play. A lot of stuff going to change. So treating every game like it is a must-win, and we're trying to get out of that play-in.
What do you think about the reaction of teams like the Warriors, for example? It's surprising to you after what happened with Jimmy Butler, or is that something that was a surprise to you to see them?
I don't know why they're asking about Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors. It's not like they're playing them next or had just played them, but I think these are Miami Heat reporters here. I don't know if anybody was there covering the Clippers from the media side.
Is that something that was a surprise to you to see them, the reaction that they had?
No, they're an experienced team with won a lot of championships. They added great players, so I don't think it's surprising. So they're playing well, but you know, take it one game at a time. A lot of stuff can change in this league quickly. A lot of stuff, a lot of games left. So we're not worried about anyone else but us.
We'll talk about Golden State and give you the standings update coming up. Again, 877-520-1150. If you guys want to call in, 877-520-1150 and talk Clippers here. Ivica Zubac, by the way, as we continue with the post game, had 26 and 14 last night in their victory in Miami.
Tell me about you. We just talked about 2 games. He said that you are one of the most underrated players in the league. You agree with that?
Yeah, Harden called him one of the most underrated great players in the league last night.
Yeah. I've been thinking that for a long time. I'm glad other people think that too.
Ivica Zubac has also been thinking he's one of the most underrated players.
Yeah, I've been thinking that for a long time. I'm glad other people think that too.
Checking the numbers is the best season ever for you.
Yeah,
How you feel?
I mean, I think it's normal progression for me. I'm entering into my best years, I think, and that's what I expect from myself, getting better every year. And made a progression from last season, and I expect to make another step next year.
Adam Mars asking about Norman Powell as he did yesterday, as he did the day before that. Look, I get it, guys. Remember, he's being reevaluated. Probably will come on Sunday. Expected to be back. Is kind of a wild question. Do you know how these injury reports typically go in the NBA? He's going to be reevaluated first. So give it some time. Remember they said 10 days before he's reevaluated? Just hold your horses here. Come on now. More from Big Zoo.
I'm covering the league for Spain, or you know it. Just curious about if somebody told you before your similarities with Marc Gasol.
Yeah, going into the league.
Okay. I've been saying, and I got tweets going back to like 2020 about this, that Ivica Zubac is the long-lost Gasol brother because of his skill set. He's somewhere in between Powell and Marc. And this reporter asked him a question about that, which I found very interesting.
Marc Gasol.
Yeah, going into the league, a lot of people compare me to him.
Marc Gasol.
Kind of said I can be like Marc, and he was an amazing player, one of my role models. Now I just gotta add some, start shooting threes maybe at some point in career, and I think he was a defensive player of the year. Yeah, that's something I aspire to be one day, and it's a great comparison for me.
I love Marc Gasol. He was one of my favorite players, even though, yes, he cooked the Clippers in those back-to-back series in 2012 and 2013 in the playoffs. Those were rough times, but such a skilled, heady player, but a great defensive player, a great paint protector out there, like Ivica Zubac. And I've always thought Ivica Zubac has some of that Marc Gasol around the basket, too, on the offensive end.
Comparison for me.
Could you meet him personally? I mean,
yes.
Talk together?
Yes.
What he told you?
Not much. We didn't, it was not. I don't know. One time here, I talked to Powell too. They said I can come to Spain if I want to work out with them, but I never got a chance. That was a long time ago, though. So they're both great guys. Looked up to them a lot coming out of Europe, big out of Europe. They were kind of role models for all the bigs in Europe, and incredible players, incredible people.
Last question for me, Adil.
Yeah, also just stellar human beings. If you've witnessed how Pau Gasol has helped the Bryant family since Kobe's death, his best friend, and just being there for Vanessa and the kids, it warms the heart. It's good to see awesome players, awesome people. Ivica Zubac, a great guy himself.
You think Pau is one of those guys that opened the doors for all the European players coming to the NBA?
Who?
He was one of the guys.
Pau?
Pau.
Yeah, for sure. He got drafted, I forgot what year, 2001, maybe, I don't know. But, he came over early, before it was popular, and he was a real superstar, all-star, won a lot of championships. So definitely one of the guys who opened the door for Europeans.
What did you make of Bogey's performance tonight?
Hey, it's Lauren Rosen.
It's great. He was aggressive. I've been pushing him to be aggressive, to shoot the ball. We're just talking about you. I požuri. Where, he was finally a little aggressive, wanted to shoot the ball today.
Ivica Zubac giving him a little crap here to Bogey.
Had to talk to him a lot these past few days. But, he's fitting in nicely. He's fitting in nice, understanding what we're trying to do on both ends. And he's a great player, so it shouldn't take too long.
was saying that right in front of Bogdanovich. I had somebody who was, first of all, an Ivica Zubac hater on X. I'm not going to give out the guy's name. Then, during the Pelicans game yesterday, he said, quote, Bogey is washed, terrible player, afraid to make threes, just one game of flash. Well, he had been better than just somebody who had one good game. He's had multiple. Last night was obviously his best, but I did say, was this accurate, what you said after what Bogey just did? And then the guy said, I have better things to do. You can continue. But he said he wasn't wrong about Zubac either. It's like, you can't overreact. You can't overreact. You have to look at the big picture and the body of work when it comes to these guys. For instance, Ivica Zubac was somebody who was never featured enough. I thought it was, and have said openly, I think it's one of the big failures of the 2-1-3 era. They have one of their best players hiding in plain sight all the time. Their biggest player hiding in plain sight. A secret weapon of sorts in Ivica Zubac, who they weren't exploiting and not going to, and I understand it to a degree. They had PG, Kawhi, James Harden, Russ last season, but I think it was pretty obvious for a while, which is why I could pull posts from me on Twitter from years ago saying Gasol or Ivica Zubac is the long lost Gasol brother. The skill was obvious. He didn't turn into a different player this summer, guys. He's been good for a long time. And now you look at the, let's see, 7 games so far in March. He's averaging 22 and 12 with 3 assists and a block per game. Averaging 22 and 12. He's had 11 straight double-doubles. All he needed was the basketball more. That's it. This wasn't that difficult to figure out what they had in Ivica Zubac. It was pretty clear to many of us how good he could be. The Zubac truthers, or I don't know. So many were focused on, oh, he can't catch the ball. Because his first season, he played through broken hands or broken fingers with the Clippers. He was dropping some passes. That stuck with people. So then anytime he dropped a pass moving forward, they related it back to that. And they just stereotyped him as a guy that couldn't hold on to the basketball or had bad hands, which was never true. He has some of the softest hands for a big man in the league. But it's just casual, low-level stuff and people. But that's been the argument from Clippers fans. He has been a polarizing player for whatever reason within this own fan base. And now the haters are diminishing. It's good to see. It took way too long. And this wasn't about Ivica Zubac becoming a completely different player over this summer. This is about him getting the damn basketball. That's it. That's all this is. He has been extremely skilled. I don't think he's ever played soft either. I don't think he's a soft player. Everybody loves saying this about big men because they think they should dunk the ball every time out there. It's a stereotype of big men. Oh, if I was that big, it's guys, shaking their fist at clouds and saying, if I was that big, or guys back on my day, they dunk the ball every time. Throw it down, big man. As the late, great Bill Walton would say. He plays with force. He's been a top 3 rim protector in the league over the last 5 years. Last season, he was the best rim protector in the league. He's good again this year. He's always been stellar on that end. We were just waiting for him to get the basketball more on the offensive side. Play through him. What do I always say? There's an easier path to victory. It's playing through Ivica Zubac. You're making it too hard on yourselves. While the Clippers have been good offensively over the years, there still was an element missing from their offense, and that is getting easier points on the interior and not having a lot of points in the paint and settling for too many jump shots at times because they don't have a lot of guys with the quickness to get downhill and slashers getting to the basket with ease. Well, they've had this guy in Ivica Zubac for so damn long that could have been doing that stuff. I don't know what they were waiting for, but I think it is one of the failures of the past 6 years. It's good to see. It's great to see him getting the basketball much more now, but he still, in my opinion, could be featured more at times. 16 shots last game, 12, 14 before that. It's like, I don't know if that's enough for somebody this dominant. You guys heard what Brian Shaw said. Do I need to play it for you again? I'll do it. I'll do it right now. Think I won't? You think I won't? Listen to B. Shaw, who's done a great job filling in for Coach Lue. Feel better, Coach Lue, over the last 3 games where they're 2-1. This was pre-game before the Pistons game.
Thanks so much, Adam. Here with assistant coach Brian Shaw before the Clippers take on the Detroit Pistons. Coach Zoo, 35 points last game, a career high for him. What does it do for a player during?
In a game they lost to Phoenix where he still only got 19 shots. He was unstoppable. He easily could have had 45. Their offense sputters out, and he's not getting the basketball. Listen to B. Shaw's frustration.
The regular season, when you're able to run an offense through him as a number one option, that could help maybe down the line in a playoff-like situation.
Well, I mean, it gives him confidence. We have to get better as a team of recognizing when somebody like that is going the way he was going last night, and as efficient as he was, to keep featuring him and keep feeding him and put our personal agendas and individual accolades aside and keep riding him, because, you know, from the beginning of the game, we were feeding him. They were double teaming him, which was why it was so beautiful the way we played in the first half. You know, everybody was involved. When they double teamed him, he kicked it out. Everybody made the right play. And then we didn't continue to do that in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter. You know, we stopped getting the ball inside to him, and he, you know, this year, obviously, it's been his best year of his career. And he's the biggest advantage that we have on a nightly basis.
Are you hearing this? He is the biggest advantage we have on a nightly basis. And people wonder why I've been freaking out for years about not getting Zoo involved more.
You know, teams are coming to double team him. And he's our most efficient player in terms of, you know, scoring and his shot attempts and things of that nature. And so we just have to recognize that and ride it, you know, while we can.
Well, Ivica Zubac has made some strides with passing out of double teams. A lot of that is just because, well, he never got enough reps to pass out of double teams because they never got him the ball enough to begin with for him to be double teamed. It's not that he couldn't have been doing this in past years. If they gave him the ball more often, then he would have been double teamed more, and he would have learned earlier. Clipper Vad said, run the offense through Zoo. Yeah. Put it up, Zoo.
Put it up, Ben.
Put it up, Zoo.
Put it up, Ben.
He can't bring the ball up the floor. He's dependent on guys getting him the basketball. They're doing a much better job of that lately. Jonathan Ing asked a good question. If you guys want to call in, 877-520-1150. 877-520-1150. When Norm is back and the team is whole again, how many shots do you think Zoo should be averaging? Whole again makes it sound like they've been whole a lot. They have not. But I take your point. It's a good question, Jonathan. They always are from you. I'm going to say Ivica Zubac, when they're fully healthy, should be getting 14 shot attempts per game. If you're saying, well, Adam, that doesn't seem like that much. Well, guess how many he's attempting right now in the season? 11.6. And that's with a team that's been banged up and has only had Kawhi for 23 games and Norm has missed 20 games. 14. 14. I think that's doable. I don't think that's asking for too much. I've joked that I need him to get 20 shots per game. I know that's not going to happen. It should happen some games when he's really rolling. And if they're fully healthy, Kawhi is going to be at 18, 19. Norm's going to be around 14. Harden's going to be around 17. I think 14 for Ivica Zubac. I'm not asking for too much. I think that's attainable. That's doable. Speaking of doable, let's talk about the standings, guys. Some have already made some comments in here. Some of you are cut from the same cloth or parroting what I've been saying. I've been talking about this for some time now. Last couple of shows on Clips and Dip as well. Here's the best case scenario. Stop the count. Stop the count. Memphis is in the 2 seed. Meaning, if the Clippers win in the play-in where they are right now against Minnesota in the 7-8 matchup, they would take on the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round. That's it. That's the best scenario. I'm not saying the Memphis Grizzlies are pushovers. I'm not saying it guarantees the Clippers are going to win that series or they're going to beat them in 5 games or something. Memphis is really good. They would still be the favorites, most likely. It is about path of least resistance and the best of the worst options. And playing Memphis is a better option for the Clippers matchup-wise than playing Denver or playing the Lakers or even probably Houston. OKC is the number 1 seed, so they're not dropping down to 2. It's between those 4 teams, really. Memphis, Denver, Lakers, Houston. I'm going Memphis, where they are right now. They're currently the 2 seed. I've been saying this, and I think with the way schedules line up, there's a real good chance that the Clippers end up right where they are currently, in the 8th spot. Now, that would mean they'd have to go on the road for that play-in. That's not easy. We saw what happened in that play-in game in Minnesota in 2022, but they didn't have Kawhi. They had Paul George. They lost in Minnesota. Pat Bev was, getting his championship ring out of that victory over the Clippers, it looked like. I love Pat Bev. I don't care. He can celebrate. He can get up there on the podium or on the media table and swinging his jersey around like Kobe after beating Boston in Game 7. It would not be an easy game to win, but the opportunity would be right there. That carrot would be dangled. Win that game, and you're taking on the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round. And that's best case scenario. And then you end up in that case taking on, I think, the winner of 3-6, because 1-8 plays the winner of 4-5. They don't reseed. But let's just not get ahead of ourselves. The point is, get the easiest matchup you can. Even though it's not an easy matchup, it is easier than playing Denver or the Lakers now with Luka, or even the Houston Rockets. Now, I would like Houston as my second choice behind Memphis. I've been saying that all season long when people were telling me, Adam, you're crazy. They're 3-0 against the Clippers so far this season. I don't care. They didn't have Kawhi for those games. They don't have a player that averages more than 21 per game. But Memphis, because they don't have great options to guard Kawhi and James Harden, they should be able to get rolling in that series. And the Clippers match up pretty well with their defenders against Memphis. They do. You might not believe that because Memphis has had their number over the years, but this year's team is different with DJ and Chris Dunn out there. They have really good point of attack defenders to slow down John Morant. That's how they won that game on the road in Memphis when Memphis wasn't losing 114 to 110 back in late December. It was one of the best victories of the season for the Clippers. And even though Memphis plays at a faster pace, it doesn't seem to bother the Clippers. They beat them again at Intuit Dome with Kawhi February 12th. Memphis had some guys out 128 to 114. I'm not just going off of, though, the fact that they won those two games. That wouldn't seal it for me. It's still, even if they had lost both, I'd say it's still a better opportunity to get out of the first round than taking on Denver, than taking on the Lakers. Now, they play Memphis Friday, March 21st at Intuit Dome. Big game. Until then, I will be rooting for the Memphis Grizzlies to continue to win games. They have, if we look at Tankathon and go off strength of schedule, they have the 6th toughest schedule left in the league, the Memphis Grizzlies. The Clippers, the 5th. But what about when it comes to the teams that are around them that will also be trying to get that 2 seed? Well, the Lakers have the 3rd toughest schedule. The Nuggets, unfortunately, not as tough. Denver's 12th. So they have an easier schedule and one more game left against Memphis. They're tied in the season series 1-1. If you're looking at head-to-head tiebreakers between Memphis and the Denver Nuggets. And then Houston has the 16th toughest strength of schedule. But there's a good chance the Memphis Grizzlies could end up as that 2 seed. Ja is on fire at the playoffs. I can't tell if Clay is just a troll or I don't know what he's talking about. Like, when was the last time Ja played in the playoffs? 2023 when they lost to the Lakers. And he wasn't very good. I know he had, I think, an injury going on. Ja is on fire at the playoffs. According to what? What are you basing this off of? I don't understand it. Memphis has won 4 in a row. They got Cleveland coming up at home. Clippers are going to see them soon as well. Then Miami at home. Meanwhile, the Denver Nuggets coming up here as they just lost last night. Hence why we've had a shift in the standings here. The Denver Nuggets are going to play the Lakers tomorrow. That is in Denver. They'll be looking to make up for that loss to them a couple of Saturdays ago where the Lakers really embarrassed them. So I'm not sure who we're rooting for there. Anyone but the Lakers, I think. But I really, you don't want to see the Lakers or Denver in the first round. In past years, I would have been feeling a little bit better about taking on the Lakers. But, they have some things in their favor in a playoff series. They have a lot of star power and a lot of guys who would get calls. I've been through this. My Kings lost to them in 7 games in the Western Conference Finals in 2002, and we all thought we got screwed. And I think most people have accepted that. Even Lakers fans tell me that now. Yeah, you guys got screwed. The referee is like, I don't need to see a series against the Lakers. Would I prefer them over Denver? That's kind of a toss-up for me. I don't know. Depends on the Lakers are still without LeBron. They're on a back-to-back, which makes that game even tougher for them because they're taking on Milwaukee in Milwaukee tonight. They still don't have Bron. He's back in LA. But I don't know. Maybe I would prefer the Lakers. It depends on, how healthy they are, health permitting. But, man, going up against Jokic in the first round, it's just the thought of losing to the Lakers, of course, that's hell. If you play them for the first time in the playoffs and lose to them, that would be hell for this Clippers team, for us Clippers fans. That's a place I don't want to go. I don't think, based upon them having the third toughest schedule left, based upon LeBron being out, they're about to start this 6-8 schedule. That is the worst schedule that anybody has this season, 6-8. And 2 of the games are against Milwaukee, 2 of the games are against Denver. This happened, of course, because of the rescheduling with the fires in Southern California. I don't think they're going to end up in the 2 spot, the Lakers. So it's likely the only way you play them, if you're the Clippers, is if you get to the 6 spot. But how do you get there? Golden State's the hottest team in the league. They're 12-1 with Jimmy Butler. They're not losing. The Clippers do have the tiebreaker over them, but there's still a team in front of them. Minnesota still has the tiebreaker on the Clippers, and they're a game and a half in front of them. So before you talk about getting to the 6th spot, you got to get to the 7th. It's more likely that Minnesota jumps Golden State and gets the 6th spot, and then maybe they take on the Lakers, who end up in the 3. But Golden State has had a favorable schedule, although it's about to get tougher. They have the 11th toughest schedule remaining. Minnesota, easier, the 28th. I think it's much more likely Minnesota jumps Golden State, and we end up with a Clippers versus Golden State play-in game. Now, this could benefit the Clippers because here's what's wild about this. And we're looking forward to the future, but there's only 16 games left. It's time to do standings watch. I'm fine with it. The final game of the regular season, the Clippers are up in San Francisco taking on the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to make a prediction. That game is going to decide who hosts the 7-8 play-in matchup. The winner of that game will host the 7-8 play-in game to see who gets the 7th seed. That's my prediction. Minnesota jumps Golden State, gets 6th. And the winner of that final game of the season between the Clippers and Golden State will determine who is in the 7th spot or who is in the 8th spot and is hosting that play-in game to become the 7th seed. I know that's a little bit confusing and convoluted with the language there, but it's accurate. Hello from Belgium, says Peter Boone. Hi, Peter. Want to call in? 877-520-1150. I'm telling you, because Golden State, they're at a disadvantage with the Clippers because the Clippers have beat them 3 times this season, so the Clippers have the tiebreaker over them. So they end up tied in the standings. They have the head-to-head tiebreaker. That could push the Clippers into finishing 7th to being in that 7-8 matchup against Golden State for the play-in game to determine who ultimately is in the 2-7 matchup in a 7-game series. Still confusing? I'm sorry. It's not my fault. But it's that final game of the season. It's going to be like a play-in to the play-in. It's going to be like a play-in to the play-in to the playoffs. It's going to be high stakes. But maybe Golden State just keeps winning with Jimmy Butler. And yeah, the Clippers don't even have a chance to catch them and they do become the 6th seed, and the Clippers are ending up having to go to Minnesota to win that play-in matchup. That would be difficult. But I'm just talking about what's most likely to happen right now based upon the standings and the schedules for all these teams moving forward. And overall, I don't love it. I don't want the Clippers to be in the play-in, but it's probably better to be in the play-in than be the 6th seed and get Denver or the Lakers in the first round. I'd rather have an opportunity to get Memphis in the first round. Even if, yes, you lose in that play-in game, then you're at best the 8th seed and you're taking on OKC in the first round. I might rather play OKC than Denver or the Lakers. That might sound crazy to some. But I think OKC does have some flaws. They're a little bit touche dependent. They're great. They're deserving of the number 1 seed. Defensively, they got all the guys you can throw at James Harden and Kawhi. I'm not saying the Clippers would win that series, but I'm going off hierarchy of teams I'd want to play versus least want to play in the West. There are no great options. If you lose, okay, here's how it works, because it's only been around for 4 years? The 7 and 8 teams play each other. So currently, going off the standings today, if we stop the count and we froze the standings and went off of playoff matchups today, the 7th seed is Minnesota, the 8th is the Clippers. They would play each other in Minnesota. The winner becomes the 7th seed and is in the 2-7 matchup in the playoffs. The loser plays the winner of the 9-10 matchup, which is currently Sacramento, the 9th seed, Dallas, the 10th. The winner of that game becomes the 8th seed. So it's double elimination if you're in the 7-8. It's single elimination if you're in the 9-10. You got to win 2 games to get out. I think the Clippers are pretty secure, unless they go on a long losing streak, of being the 7th or 8th seed. Because Sacramento is at the disadvantage because the Clippers have the tiebreaker against them. And Dallas could fall out. Phoenix could jump in. But I'm not worried about teams past Sacramento. Sacramento is the only one that could realistically catch the Clippers. And the Clippers have the tiebreaker over them. So I think the Clippers are solid in that 8th spot at worst. Unless the wheels fell off and they just had, a 5-game losing streak all of a sudden. I don't expect that. If anything, I'd say there's a better chance they win the next 5. But just try to win the next 2 in Atlanta and then back home against Charlotte. Very winnable games. That's how the play-in works. Jeffrey said, hardest teams we can face. Number 1, the Lakers. Number 2, the Nuggets. Number 3, OKC. Number 4, the Rockets. Number 5, the Grizzlies. I don't hate this list. I don't. Some of the discussion with the Lakers is about just the thought of losing to them would be the worst case scenario. Even if you feel like you'd actually have a better chance beating them than Denver, just the thought of losing to the Lakers versus losing to Denver, it would be so painful. Peter from Belgium said, I hope next home game we will see the team healthy again, have those last games with the full team. I don't know if Ben Simmons and Norm would be back for the Sunday game. I would not count on Norm being back for that game. Jonathan Ing said, I don't feel very comfortable in a 1-game situation versus Minnie. Ant going nuts scares me. There aren't many scenarios that do feel comfortable is the problem. It's just that if that is the way to get Memphis in the first round, having to go to Minnesota and winning that game, I'd sign up for it. I think they'd match up better against Golden State. They beat them 3 times, but this is a different Golden State team now. Not putting a lot of stock into those early season games against them. They have Jimmy Butler. They're better, but I'd still probably rather see them than Minnesota. I would. But Golden State's playing really, really well. And it would hurt to lose to Big Mike's team. It would hurt badly. He's talking all kinds of junk. My cousin from NorCal, who I had on Christmas to talk about the Clippers Golden State rivalry and series, and there was an upcoming game. And we've had bragging rights over Big Mike because they're 3-0 against them this season. But Golden State, unfortunately, playing much better. The Jimmy Butler fit has been perfect. They still got to get Kuminga back, by the way. That could end things. I could see that not being a smooth transition to now implementing Kuminga back in with Jimmy Butler. But we'll see. Technically, it should raise their ceiling. It should be better overall. This is just what I'm looking at right now and how I see the West shaking out. I think the most likely scenario is the Clippers end up in the 8th spot based upon strength of schedule with all the teams surrounding them and, of course, where the Clippers are at there too. It's going to be hard to jump Minnesota. They're 7-3 their last 10. Golden State's 9-1 their last 10. Meanwhile, the Clippers are 5-5. Even if they get on a run here, Minnesota and Golden State are playing well. And Minnesota has the much easier schedule. Golden State's is also technically easier than the Clippers. But they do have the tiebreaker over them. I could see that last game of the season. Maybe the Clippers need to win that for the tiebreaker to come into effect. That wouldn't shock me at all. They're equipped to handle Golden State, but they're different. They've had a makeover. And they have... They have a guy who is playing so well right now that came out of nowhere in Quentin Post that has been killing it at the center position for them. Killing it. And that was one of their perceived weaknesses. So don't underestimate them. They'd probably be favored in that game. I mean, based upon if they played today, they would be. But, yeah. Jimmy Butler, I thought it would work. I didn't think to this extent. They got playoff Jimmy in the regular season, basically, which is exactly what they needed. They paid him. They gave him the extension. Apparently, he's happy. He's refound his love for the game and basketball, and he's been awesome. And another guy who can be on ball and create for himself, so Steph doesn't have to do everything. Ryan says we're not a lock for the play-in. You think they could be on the play out? They're pretty much a lock for the play-in. You're saying they could still get the 6th seed? What you got to understand is Minnesota has the tiebreaker over them. So even though they're a game and a half back of Minnesota, it's really 2.5 games. So if Minnesota jumps into the 6th spot, that doesn't make it any easier to get. You need Minnesota to lose. You need Golden State to lose. You need Sacramento to lose. You want the Lakers and Denver Nuggets to lose. You want Memphis and Houston to win. So tonight, the Kings are playing Golden State. I would actually, that's in San Francisco, I would prefer the Kings to win that game because I'm not worried about the Kings chasing down the Clippers. The Clippers have the tiebreaker over them, and the Kings have the second toughest schedule left in the league. I don't think they're going to be able to catch the Clippers as long as the Clippers don't go on some crazy losing streak. So therefore, I don't think they can fall into the 9-10 plan. They can. Anything can happen. I think it's very unlikely. So I'd rather see Golden State lose because I'd rather see them in the 7-8 matchup against the Clippers. I'd rather Minnesota get 6th and the Clippers not have to go there. That's one game to watch tonight. Another, Milwaukee and the Lakers. Go Bucks. The Lakers just had a miserable loss to Brooklyn. They don't have LeBron. Milwaukee, they're 6-4 their last 10 games. I'm trying to see, are they playing for the 3 seed still? They're so far back, but they are playing to hold on to the 4 spot and have home court in the first round. So they do have plenty to play for, because Indiana has the same record as them. I guess Milwaukee has the tiebreaker because they're 4th right now in the East. They need to win that game. And we need to see the Lakers drop and fall away from that 2 spot and the 3 spot, just in case the Clippers get 6th. Fall Lakers. Go Bucks, go Doc Rivers. A Post player named Post. Joffrey said, would you throw away the first play-in game and risk it all for the A seed? As the A seed seems to be the easier path, avoiding Lakers, Nuggets, Warriors, and T-Wolves. Warriors, I mean, I don't know how you think you would play them in the first round. But no. The A seed, you're playing OKC. I don't think that's the easier path. Yes, I might rather play OKC than the Lakers or Denver, depending on how those teams are playing and who's healthy. I might rather play OKC than those two, but ain't nobody going to throw a play-in game. Ryan, I'm literally pointing out how the season will not be over if they make the play-in and get the right matchups. If they got out of the play-in and were in a 2-7 matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies, that's better than being the 6th seed and getting the Lakers or getting Denver. That would actually be better. So to say the play-in is the problem, I don't think you're paying attention. Now, the Kings do play Golden State tough. You're right about that, Ryan. Peter said, if Norm is back, we have 4 players who can drop 20 points per game nightly. That's crazy. And our defense is scary. Yeah, we haven't seen this Clippers team peak yet. We have not seen them at their very best, which should be scary for the rest of the league. But they got to get healthy. It's always been the issue. F said, Clippers winning their first championship as a play-in would be Clipper as F. Chemo said Denver will be 2, Memphis 3, most likely. It's really close. Denver may be favored to get the 2 over Memphis, but I'm telling you it's close. They still play each other. And they have, if you're looking at strength of schedule, Memphis has the 6th toughest strength of schedule, Denver the 12th. It's not a crazy difference there. Denver still has to play Memphis. They have to play the Lakers twice, Houston twice, Golden State twice, Minnesota, who just beat them last night again, Indiana. Memphis has to play Cleveland, OKC, Boston, Denver, the Lakers, and Golden State Warriors. So Memphis has more games against the elite competition, with a game against Cleveland, OKC, and Boston left, but it's just one game. Denver has 2 games left against the Lakers, 2 games left against the Rockets, 2 games left against Golden State. They have more games against quality competition, but not as of the highest end elite competition like Memphis has, but it's only 1 game for them. It's possible. It really could come down to that last game between those 2 teams. Holo Dolo said, I need to see this team with Norm and Ben back, man. We haven't had a single game since All-Star break with everyone. I know it. Ryan said, what happened the last time we were in the play-in? Yeah, they had Paul George. It's a different situation. They lost, and they didn't even have him the second game against the Pelicans. That's what happened. They lost the game against Minnesota. So then they were playing for the 8th spot against the Pelicans. They didn't have Paul George because he was out due to illness. There's no parallel. Well, look what happened last time in the play. It's like, okay, it's a completely different situation. Hello, Dolo said, I need to see this team with Norman and Ben back, man. We haven't had a single game since. Oh, I just read that. Caleb said, won't you like for LA Clippers to be the 7th seed, host the play-in tournament game? Yes, I mentioned that. I don't know if they're going to end up being 7th. They might have to go on the road for that playing game. Mosi said, waive Patty Mills, bring in vet point guard or another big. Oh, God. First of all, anybody you bring in at this point, I don't believe will be playoff eligible. Second of all, those moves are over, my man. You're way late. Peter said, yes, healthy. There's a reason why call this the what if era since Kawhi joined. Holo Dolo said, also, I haven't been here in a bit, Adam. Have you covered how insanely well teams are shooting the 3-ball against us? I was covering it before anybody. I was talking about this for a while. Like a month ago, I was talking about this. And it's not like we're not defending either. It's just insane shooting. I brought up the numbers a month ago. Justin Russo just did it yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah, they're not leaving more open shots. Nick Ramos is laughing at just how stupid that comment was. Bring in another point guard or a big. Like, what big? You guys are killing me. F said, imagine if they sweep the Grizzlies. That might be one of those games where even if they lose, I'll be like, well, at least there's some upside. Memphis has a better chance of being second now. David said, just tuned in. What's the best case scenario? You can rewind. F said, what seeing Kobe Brown play 30 seconds does? Okay. Chill. I can't believe I haven't gotten one call today. You guys normally call in. I mean, I got a phone line open. I like talking to you guys more so on the phone. And we have the capabilities now. Yeah, if the Clippers could end up with the 7th spot and host the play-in game against the team with the 8th, that would be ideal. And that could be determined, again, prediction, the last game of the season when they're up in San Francisco against Golden State. That could be for home court in the play-in game. Do you follow me? That's what that could be. The schedule, there's going to be some craziness at the end of the year, guys, with playoff positioning and seeding and who's lining up to play one another in that first round. What are the possibilities? Mostly said, calm down, guys. He made the comment about cutting Patty Mills for a point guard or a big. Mostly, tell us who that point guard or big is that they're cutting him for, and they won't even have that guy available to play in the playoffs. The Denver Nuggets aren't playing tonight. They're hosting the Lakers tomorrow. You're saying, or what you should be saying is, go Bucks in Kings tonight. Bucks are playing the Lakers. Kings are playing Golden State. Go Kings, go Bucks. Free TV is saying stupid S per usual. Clippers better without Kawhi. Shall I pull up the on-off numbers again for the Clippers? He just wants them off the team. He wants them to trade him for draft picks, even though he's also somebody that would say, we don't draft well, so it's kind of nonsensical. Here's the Clippers' offensive rating with Kawhi Leonard on the floor. 116.3. Here's their offensive rating without Kawhi Leonard on the floor. 110.4. A 6-point difference per 100 possessions. They are that much better offensively with Kawhi. Here's the defensive rating with Kawhi on the court. 109.3. Here's the defensive rating with him off the court. 109.5. So they're worse in both areas. Jonathan Ing has called in. Jonathan, please help some of these lost souls out, like free TV. Please help me. You know what? Maybe I should play it.
I'm so lonely. Please help me.
Please help me, Jonathan. Please help me.
Please help me.
Lucky I got some quick time on my lunch break really quick. Just for everybody who's like saying that we should waive Patty Mills, like, dude, it's one, Adam already said it, it's too late in the season. 2, who are we getting? 3, like Patty Mills' role is he's the end of the bench vibes guy that PJ Tucker is supposed to be. Basically, he's the vet who's helping the young guys like Jordan Miller, Kobe Brown, like keeping their heads straight when they're not going to get much playing time. And those guys are important, just also showing them what it means to be a professional. Like PJ Tucker, I'm going to go back to it, was a terrible vet on this team, and basically partially why Bones was basically on his way out with this team. This is my take. PJ probably had a negative influence on Bones, and that contributed to the lack of professionalism, which is why Bones got sent home pre-All-Star break last year. So,
I've said PJ had a veteran presence and an influence, just in a negative way.
Yeah. So it's just for everybody, like those kinds of guys. Like there's not enough teams have those end of the bench guys that help the young guys on their squad like be professionals. Like I forgot there was some NBA player that was, say, maybe it might have been Vince Carter or something like that, like a year or two ago. It's like they need to have those guys because there's so many of the young NBA players coming in. They're super cocky, super arrogant. They were big to get the NBA, and they have a rude awakening, and they don't know how to be a professional. And that's where guys like Patty Mills, their value is showing guys what it means to be a professional.
Yep.
So
Patty Mills strengthens a strength with this locker room the way it is right now. He only helps in that area. He is friends with Ben Simmons. He's friends with Kawhi. I think that's part of the reason they got him. It was a precursor to getting Ben Simmons and having that advantage of getting him over Cleveland. Patty Mills, it's really not so much about the on-court work at this point of his career, but if guys are happy, they play better, and he helps in that area.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's the point. Everybody on the chat needs to stand down and recognize, like, this isn't PJ Tucker. Patty Mills is not a wasted roster spot like PJ Tucker was. So
yeah,
there you have it.
No,
I can go back to work.
I appreciate you calling in. I can just picture him hiding in his cubicle under the desk like George Costanza did when he turned it into a sleeping situation. To give Mosi some credit, he brought up Elfrid Payton as a guy, and he is technically a free agent, but if you bring in a guy this late in the season, they aren't playoff eligible. So Joffrey said PG getting traded this offseason would be hilarious. I mean, it might happen. They apparently were shopping him during the trade deadline this year. Shar said this team was built to withstand Kawhi sitting, certainly not better without him. It just looks like that sometimes because we were able to build so well without a huge PG contract. Yeah, they became a good defensive team without him. That's what they are. They are a good defensive team without him. They aren't a better defensive team without him. You look at the on-off numbers. But they're good. They're elite even without him. Offensively, they're significantly worse without him. Good point, Shar. I don't know what they'd have to do to get off the Paul George contract. That is an albatross around their neck. That is, oh man, do the Clippers dodge a bullet. Wish them well. I don't know what they can do. They're probably just going to run it back and hope for better health. I don't think they can just blow it up unless somebody took on Joel Embiid. Like, they could go pennies on the dollar for trading Embiid, for trading Paul George, and try to bring in some talented younger guys without as much upside and just build around Tyrese Maxey and have a fun season that way, but they wouldn't have the high-end potential. But you can say right now with Embiid's unfortunate injury concerns, I don't know. He's having surgery again. That situation is just brutal. I can't believe it's gone that miserably for Paul George in Philly in the first season. I don't think anyone could have predicted this or foreseen this. Nick Ramos said, Morey said he consults. Oh, wait, is this true? Is this for real? Morey said he consults AI when making front office decisions.
I'm so lonely. Please help me.
Confronts AI?
I'm so lonely. Please help me.
Like maybe AI helps gather some stats for him? Like, come on. You can't just be like, hey, Siri, what should I do with Paul George? Mosey said having Simmons back would help us in the boards. Been getting killed. I mean, they just out-rebounded Miami last night by a pretty wide margin, Mosey. They out-rebounded them 45-29 and 11-9 in offensive rebounds. So been getting killed doesn't exactly line up. Holo Dolo said every time I thought our season was going to take, but I agree with you. Ben Simmons, Mosey, is needed. He has become very valuable for this Clippers team, and his loss is felt. He just had, I think, 25 turnovers to, 25 assists to like 2 turnovers as a Clipper. Look at his assist to turnover ratio. Hello Dolo said every time I thought our season was going to take a head dive, James Harden and Big Zoo held it down and kept us afloat. Shout out to them. Completely. He said that about the AI on Pablo Torres's podcast. I need to know specifics on what type of AI he's using. What does that mean? People just like saying AI. Steve Daniels said, question, what percentage of basketball on court and front office is art versus science in your opinion? I mean, it depends on the organization, but it's probably like 80-20 science versus art at this point. Like people get mad about, oh, there's so many threes. You'd rather watch long twos because that's what they were taking. They replaced long twos with threes. A shot a few steps back that's worth an entire point more. I don't know. People tripping when they talk about 90s basketball. I've been saying this forever. They have no memory. You know, you romanticize the past, golden age syndrome, all those things apply, especially with old school basketball. It does not look the way you remember it. If you go back and actually watch full games and not just highlights, it is not the same. It's not the beautiful game that you've been pushing and been screaming about. Alex said, I'm on a work trip in Atlanta and I just bought tickets for tomorrow. Let's get a dub. Oh, nice. Alex Webb. Gonna check him out on the road. That's dope. Go say hi to Carlo Jimenez. Say hi to the crew. Lauren Rose and Brian Seaman. Co's in here, said, hey, Adam, thanks again for keeping the streak alive. You are the man. I'm trying.
Please help me.
We're at 160 days straight of Clipper Stock episodes. Holo Dolo said, another back-to-back coming up. Is Kawhi going to sit the first or second one, I wonder? Let's look at the situation. I think they have, it's either 2 or 3 more back-to-backs this season. Their next back-to-back it's not for a bit. When did you think they were playing a back-to-back? The next back-to-back is at Cleveland, at Orlando. So they only have 2 more back-to-backs. This is good, guys. This doesn't seem possible. Is this AI?
Please help me.
Did I get something wrong here? Oh, they have 3. I know, that's 2. That's 2. They have a back-to-back on March 30th and 31st at Cleveland, at Orlando. And then the final back-to-back is, oh, fuck. There's 3. March 30th, March 31st, at Cleveland, at Orlando. April 4th, April 5th versus Dallas at Intuit Dome. That's not bad, though. Dallas has got a ton of injuries. They should win both those games. That's a Friday, Saturday back-to-back at home. That is strange. And then their final back-to-back is April 8th and 9th at home against San Antonio, at home against Houston. So they have 3 more back-to-backs remaining. The Hawks Hornets is not a back-to-back. Hawks tomorrow, Hornets Sunday. There may be some ways it was better, but I think there's more ways today's basketball is better. I think today's basketball overall is a much better product. If you go back and watch full games, it is a rough watch back then. The shooting today is so much better. Kind of crazy, but the shooting in basketball, like, it's kind of a big deal. Like, all things aren't created equal. And maybe you say, okay, rebounding was better back then, or something. It's like, well, those things aren't equal. In the game of basketball, shooting is really, really important and aesthetically pleasing. And there's never been better shooting and more tough shot makers. I would advise you to go back and watch In the Last Dance documentary. At the end of practice, the Chicago Bulls are all attempting a 30-foot three-pointer. Whoever hits it first, wins props or whatever, and practice is over. It's like, that would be one shot taken today. It would take one shot for a guy to hit that. A 30-foot three? They do that in game while guarded now. And this was to end practice. Hey, we can end as soon as somebody hits a 30-foot three-pointer without a defender. You see that in game now with defenders. Timothy, maybe you just got in here and didn't listen to the podcast, but maybe rewind. Steve Daniels said, who are top 2 or 3 people you have learned the most about basketball from? Ooh. Don McClain, the Flying Squirrel, listening to him on Petros and Money and on Clippers broadcasts, he was the first I heard bring up margin of error and how that differs from team to team and what that means. He's definitely one. My dad. Who else? An analyst I really like. I don't know. Hubie Brown. Pretty good. I'd have to think about it. That's a good question. Jordan said our role players have been playing better without Kawhi. We need to find that balance with him on the court and our other guys still stepping up. Well, if you're just going off stats, it's like they're going to, of course, take more shots when Kawhi is not there. So I don't know necessarily been playing better. They still haven't been great. Timothy said, I just got here. Okay. Free TV is wild, and I'm not even going to read past Clippers schedule rigged. John Jordan said, Patrick Beverly said it. James passes are on the laces. Mosi said, yeah, James is such a better passer to Ivica Zubac than Russell Westbrook. That's probably not brought up enough. Just Russ is just so erratic, and he'll throw a 90-mile-per-hour fastball when you're 5 feet away from a guy. Doug Collins, yes. Steve Kerr, I do like. Yes. Both them. I think Candace Parker's great. She's the best analyst on TNT by far. What do we got here? Mostly said, glad to see Bogey have a good scoring night. But here's the thing. People have this perception like last night was his only good scoring night. He just dropped 23 against the Pistons. Yeah, the Pelicans loss was consequential. That was an awful, awful loss. Yeah. Jokic can handle anything because he has like the best hands ever by a big man in NBA history. It's like, you guys screwed up with Russ. Like, look, he's thriving in Denver. Oh, with the one guy he could play next to maybe in the entire NBA and be able to be Russ. Oh, by the way, all the numbers say they're better with Russell Westbrook off the floor. Like, for as good of a season as he's having, and he has been good at times, really good, he still is playing next to the best player in the world. And look at this. Their offensive rating with Russ on the court is 116.4. Off the court, it's 119.6. They're 3 points better per 100 possessions with him off the floor offensively. And then defensively, on the court, they have an offensive or defensive rating of 116.3 versus off the court is 110.7. So it's almost a 6-point difference. Teams are scoring more when he's on the court defensively. I don't know. Obviously, Russ is not my style of player. That's okay. He's still an all-time great. Stevie Daniels said, do you think Clippers having Shaw instead of Lou is needed fresh voice, brain as a head coach? Not really. They started the 3-game winning streak with Coach Lou. Like, Brian Shaw is out there. He's being a voice for Coach Lou. Coach Lou is still talking with him anyways through text or FaceTiming. He is pushing Coach Lou's vision out there. It's not like Brian Shaw is saying completely different stuff at all. The rotations are very similar. I gave him credit for holding it down, and he's done a great job there, but he is, and would tell you, he is doing what exactly Coach Lou wants. Jeffrey said, Big Zoo deserves his flowers. From some of you guys, from some we've been knowing. Dude has gotten better every year while being durable and playing back-to-backs. I don't even think he's gotten that much better. He just has gotten much bigger opportunity. Ray said, just joined and wanted to shout out Ballmer and the entire team for giving us the Intuit Dome. Now in Time's top places to visit, Time Magazine's top places to visit of 2025. Jonathan said, to be fair, the two worst losses were the Lakers loss post-Luka trade where they had nobody, and the Suns game recently. Yeah, the Pacers game also when they were up 20. But I agree, those are the two worst. Pelicans might be right after that. I don't know. It's close. They've had some bad losses. Big Money Saul said, Ben may be back in the lineup for tonight per La Murray. Wait, I didn't see that. What? I thought he wasn't on the road trip. Okay, I just saw this from La Murray. Yes, I'm told that Clippers point center Ben Simmons will join the team in Atlanta and that he has a chance to make his return after missing 2 weeks due to a knee injury. Let's go!
Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben. Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben.
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 Let's go. Thanks, Big Money. That would be big for this team. I know a lot of you may roll your eyes. He's only played a couple of games. They need what he brings. They can put together some damn good small ball units with Ben Simmons. No, it's not because defense was played more intensely. I've gone back and watched. Here's hand checking still happens today. It's a judgment call. It's like holding by offensive linemen. It's how much you let them get away with. The difference in defense is you have to guard much more of the floor than you ever did because of the shooting in today's league. You have to guard far more space. You run more miles per game. It's way harder to play defense in today's game than it was back then. The reason the paint was so packed back then is because the idea was still, well, closer to the basket, better look, better, higher percentage. They weren't shooting it like today. Chemo said, wait till the playoffs and Denver will change their mind when he's blowing layups. We'll see. But yeah, typically Russ is one of the worst playoff performers. As we just saw, his last 5 games with the Clippers, he went 8 for 42. That's an all-time record. Free TV. Okay, don't care. Put it up, Ben. Put it up, Ben.
Put it up, Ben. Put it up, Ben. Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben.
This is big. I didn't think he was going to. He's joining them now on the road trip. Hello, Dolo said, slowly getting the guys back. Can't just rush Norm back. We cannot mess with the hammies. You're right. Stevie Daniels said, what advice would you give to someone in college or mid-20s who wants to pursue a career similar to yours, sports media? Is it too oversaturated, competitive, not a pragmatic path? It is oversaturated. But yeah, you could start a YouTube channel. That's free. You can do it yourself. I would say get an internship, Stevie. Get an internship somewhere. Apply to multiple teams. Just get your foot in the building somewhere. Or radio stations, whatever you're thinking. MG said, thank you, Adam, for the midday stream. Love when you do this.
Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben.
I love when we play the sound.
Get up, Ben. Put it up, Ben.
Ben Simmons versus Terrence. Is it Bogey versus Terrence? It's Bogey versus Atlanta. It's Terrence versus the Clippers, really. Hopefully Norm gets back for the Cavs game. Yeah, they would need him for that one. Alex Webb said, I feel like you're assuming because that's not true at all. If a player is bad, I'll say it. Okay, he's talking to Free TV. I don't know the conversation. I don't care. I mean, I kind of care.
Put it up, Ben.
This Ben Simmons news, not nothing. Thanks to Law Murray. Again, Law Murray on Blueski said, I'm told that the Clippers point center Ben Simmons will join the team in Atlanta and that he has a chance to make his return after missing 2 weeks due to a knee injury. I didn't know he'd be out that long. We would welcome his return. This would be awesome. MG said, this is random, but JJ Redick was absolutely terrible in the playoffs as a player. Odds he's the same as a coach? That's a totally different thing. But it's an interesting question. Actually, I think JJ is somebody you learn ball from. JJ Redick, really smart podcast, really smart guy. I thought he'd be successful. The Pat Riley stuff, that's a little much. It's a different game now. I don't think Pat Riley could come in and have the same amount of success like he had in the 80s. But he is a basketball savant. I said from the beginning, I think it's a good hire. It's an upgrade over Darvin Ham. He will at least figure out the best lineups to put out there, something Darvin Ham at times really struggled with. JJ is somebody, when people talk about who you learn from, JJ, he's taught me some ball. Hello Dolo said, Ben helping Bogey with the screens to open him up with threes will be huge. Less Eubanks minutes will also be good. Ben and Bogey had a connection, guys. Ben and Bogey have worked really well together so far. Really well. When Ben gives it to Bogey, he says,
put it up, Ben.
When Bogey gives it to Ben, he says,
put it up, Ben.
10-6 realistic. I don't think that's out of the question. I could see that. Don't have word on Coach Lou being back or not tomorrow. Hello Dolo said, also Trae Young struggles against Ben a lot. That size and length bothers Trae. Been the case his entire career. Jonathan said, with Ben coming back, that should solve some of our issues getting killed on offensive boards for other teams getting second chance points. Well, they did a good job in that area last night, but yes. Jay said, lightning, thunder, and hail up here, working in Rancho Kook, listening while wiring these lights up. Let's go, Clippers. What's up, Jose in Southgate? Jonathan Ing said, JJ's historical takes are kind of bad, though. He really understands the modern game well. They were hot takes, but he jumped on the plumber movement, and he didn't come up with that. That was Barry McCockiner on X. If you know, you know. I don't disagree with some of the stuff he says, though. It's like, why are we comparing guys to players who couldn't go left or had to use their dominant hand so much. Like, the game has advanced so much. Comparing eras in general, I think, is dumb, but MG thinks he's going to struggle as a coach in the playoffs. Only if, Joe Ingles is coaching across from him, because he locked him up in that series in 2017. Chemo said Eubanks is decent, better than Bamba, and definitely better than Kobe. I mean, that's all you can ask. Eubanks was good yesterday. Have I met Clipper Darrell? Yeah, nice guy. Alex Webb said, let's hope Ben dunks on Trae Young this go around.
Put it up, Ben. Put it up, Ben. Put it up, Ben.
I don't disrespect the older generation like that. I don't use the plumber argument. If somebody's talking reckless about the modern game, I will point out how the past game that you glorify used to look when you actually watch full games and not just highlights. Slow motion highlights with Jordan, and it's manipulated people. And there wasn't social media, and every play doesn't get scrutinized like it does today. It's completely different. Ghost is asking if Kawhi is questionable. Wait a second. No, there's no injury report out. Don't be spreading misinformation here, Ghost. We're all expecting Kawhi to be okay. What's Into a Dome going to be like in the playoffs? It's going to be loud. It's going to be lit, but still got to get to a playoff series. You know who's a respectable plumber? Luigi. Says Ray. All right. I'm out of here. I got to go run 10 miles. Appreciate you guys. Remember, Clippers Talk, as always, is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats or your least favorite player stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Make picks, win money. And I got that free promo code for you. That will give new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. The promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link in the description down below in this very episode. Underdog Fantasy, make picks, win money. I think we got a Clips and Dip episode coming up for you guys later. I'll be watching that Laker game too. Follow me at FollowAdamA on X or on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate y'all. This is free TV. Free TV cannot help but mischaracterize every single argument you make. So every player today is better than every player from the past? No one said that. No one said that. No one said that. No one said that. Straw man, look it up. I don't know why I even bother. He's probably just trolling. Before I get out, I'm going to put him in timeout just for the hell of it. Bye-bye. I'm Adam Oslin. Clippers in Atlanta tomorrow. Pregame show right back here starting at 3:30. We will talk to you then.
Off the air.